What is up, guys? How's it going? Huh? What's up, Hope? Happy Memorial Day. Yes. Happy Memorial Day. What's up, Bigfoot? Nice of you to join. Hey, Nikki. How's it going? What's up, Katie? How you doing? Hey, Losh. Thanks for joining. All right. It's been a hell of a week. So I want to show you guys something. Let's sit back and relax and watch something funny. Hold on. So I saw this video a long time ago. And I showed it to my friends and we laughed our asses off. Let's see if it still holds up, okay? What's up, Greek? Hey, Kai. I hope you're doing well and staying hydrated. All right. Let's see if this is still funny. Do you guys know this? Hold on. So the point is not to laugh. If you laugh, you get your ass slapped. It's really hard. Okay.
17 Marco Polo.
You
So you laugh, that's a slap on the ass. You seen this video before?
most of your lotion
I remember when he starts counting, that's when it gets really funny. What's up, Lady Koi? Nice of you to join.
from Ben
Yes, it's funny because you can't read. I think the counting is really funny.
英語で数えましょう。
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18, 19, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 1, 10, 2,
I think it still holds up, right? 2016?
9, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
Okay, yeah, that's the funniest thing I remember from this video. What's up, Wing Chun?
Sunday,
Oh, hey.
Sunday. 分かってるとこが
I think that's it, though. Oh, do you guys know this? Oh my god. Yeah, YouTube has a new feature. So apparently these are the most replayed parts. So I guess you can find the best parts in a video. Just skip to those, I guess. Thanks, YouTube. Can you be spanked for smiling? I think you have to laugh. I don't think you can be spanked for smiling. I remember when I saw this a long time ago, when he said 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. My friends and I were laughing our asses off. All right. All right, we good? All right, guys, let's do this. 607. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Off to a good start. Atoll. Atoms. No M's. I can think of atoll. There's probably a lot more, right? Atoll. Ataug. Atoy. I think it's atoll. How do you pronounce that? Atoll? Atone? Oh no, no N. But this might be a waste of a guess. We should eliminate the consonants. So we have L. Atoll, atoll, atok, atov. Atoz, atow, atob. Atoll, okay. There's got to be more words, right? Other than atoll? La. All right, let's eliminate the consonants. How about light? If there's an L, then we know it's atoll, I think. Okay, it is. Oh, okay, it is. Oh, yeah, we thought too hard. Thought too much. Yeah, I figured it was atoll, but there's got to be. If it wasn't, then it would have been a waste of a guess of a word. Okay. Should we do a loodle? I think loodles. We need. I need the chat's help because these are hard. Oops, not lewd. Okay, maybe 5-letter words are easier. Penis is always a good word to start with this. 5. Okay. Okay. Then what? Then we got. What does atoll even mean? It's like some island formation, I believe. Like atoll? Yeah, this is an atoll. I still don't know. Wait, what is it? A ring-shaped reef island. There you go. Or chain of islands. Formed of coral. All right, guys. Penis. What else? What we got? Do plural words count? Plural words do count, I believe. Licks. No, it's in the wrong location. But then it's hard to guess. Okay. Okay. Penile? That's a word I made up, okay. What else? Ra. Dude, this is way harder than Wordle. Silky? Silky? No. No, there's no K. Rough? Rough? How's it rough? Maybe we can eliminate some words? Maybe. Alright, let's do that. Oof! We eliminated all the letters. There's no L. Handy, no. Silly. No. This is lewd. It's a lewd word. Kicks, licks, prick. No. Sil. Sid. Sue. Sia. Sit. Kinky. No K. Sissy. Oh, fuck. All right, SI. Come on, guys. Size. It might just be a word we don't know. Moist? No, it's SI. SIT. Sit. Sit down. Six. Sissy, eh? Simps? No S on the end. Good guess though. Simp. 60. No Y. Simps. That would eliminate M and P. No P either. Whoops. Oh, that's not good. Siv, sib, sij, sif, sit, sitta. Simba? What is Simba? The Lion King? Ejaculating on one's sexual partner smear. Okay. Anyways. That is not a real thing. Really? Guys, no one does this. That can't be true, right? That's a joke. You have to exclaim Simba. Like in the Lion King. Anyways. Urban Dictionary begs to differ. This is ruining the Lion King for me. Oh no. All right, shall we do Asia. Okay. I think we did pretty well last time, okay? I think we can get it. Never mind. I think we get 98%. 98%, guys. Uzbekistan is one of these, okay? These are so hard. Is it this? This? Okay. Bhutan is here. China. Iraq is here. Yemen is here. Afghanistan is this one next to Iran. Indonesia is here. Saudi Arabia. Mongolia. Armenia is next to Iraq. No, next to Iran. South Korea. All right, we got this. Oh no! Azerbaijan, guys. Is it this one? Or this one? Or this one? Or this one. Okay, Azerbaijan. Vietnam, the best country. Sri Lanka is here. Tajikistan. This was Kyrgyzstan, right? So this must be Tajikistan? Okay. Israel is here. Lebanon. Singapore. Pakistan is here. Philippines. Cambodia. Turkmenistan. All right. Turkey is here. No, I think this is Turkmenistan. Okay. Jordan. Here. Okay. Thailand. Japan. Georgia was invaded by Russia, so it's here. Bangladesh, here. Syria. Bahrain, I think is this one. Kuwait, next to Iraq. Oh, we're on a roll! Qatar, here. Maldives, here. Iran, here. Myanmar. Oman. Russia. Laos. Oh, no. This is no, Kazakhstan is a big one, I think. Okay, Brunei is here. Yo, guys! Malaysia. So this is Kyrgyzstan. East Timor. UAE. Nepal, I think it's this one. North Korea. Turkey. India. 96%. Okay, I think the only thing I have a problem with are these fake countries over here. The stands. The stands, guys. Let's try it one more time. We can do it. We can do it. Saudi Arabia. Kuwait. Wait, where's Kuwait? Here. Bhutan. Oh, no. Cambodia. Georgia. Laos. Myanmar. Mongolia. North Korea. Lebanon. Armenia. Indonesia. Qatar. India. All right, the first stand. Where was Uzbekistan? This is Kazakhstan, right? The big ones. Uzbekistan must be here. Okay. Let's go. Turkey, Maldives, and Kyrgyzstan. Oh, fuck. I think it's here. It's either this one or this one. I think this is Turkmenistan, because Turkey is here. This is Turkmenistan. This is Kyrgyzstan. This is Kazakhstan. This is Kyrgyzstan. Okay. Yo! Not bad. Nepal, Jordan, South Korea, East Timor, Sri Lanka, Thailand, right, Azerbaijan. I think it's here, right? This is some stand. This is Azerbaijan. Okay. Syria, Russia, no. Brunei, Iran, Turkmenistan, So it's across from Turkey. Okay, that's how you remember it. It's across from Turkey. Kazakhstan, Israel, Malaysia, UAE, Philippines, Iraq, Singapore, Bahrain, Afghanistan, Oman, Yemen, Pakistan, and this is Tajikistan. Oh, I would have gotten it too if it wasn't for this one. Fuck. All right, not bad, guys. Not bad. Where's Khitan? The Khitans were like here, I guess. The Liao Empire, Liao Dynasty. Okay, I think next time we'll get it. All right. It's these countries that are the problem. Let's go. Clump them all together as a whatever stand. All right. You guys ready? Okay. So, what happened last week? Wait, hold on. Before we do that, I got something to eat. I believe this is called a cookie. A cookie? Yes. But what kind of cookie? Okay. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. It's pretty soft. It's not crunchy. Hmm. Wait. I need to reach the center. Hmm. What is this? It's pretty sweet. I can't tell what this thing in the middle is. Mm. What does it taste like? Can anyone read this? No, it's too hard. No. What is this? Some kind of fruit. Red bean, purple yam. I can't tell what flavor it is. There's a fruit. Do you see it? There's a fruit. Oh, you can't see it. It's in white. Ah, I guess we'll never know. It's a hint of a fruity taste, but there's a lot of sugar. So the sugar kind of overpowers it. I'm gonna say that's a 6, 7, 7 out of 10, guys. 7 out of 10. Strawberry? Maybe. Strawberry? No, I don't think so. Something else. Fig? I don't think it's fig. I think the sugar overpowers it. It's a mystery cookie. You can never replace fig when you're eating it. Maybe. All right, well, the question will never be answered. I'm sorry. All right, guys. What happened in our story last week? So last week, it was revealed that our hero Qiaofeng is a Khitan man, not a Han Chinese man. All right, and that was why half of the elders in the Beggars clan rebelled against him. Now, even the widow of the vice chief, right, of the Beggars clan, found that Qiaofeng's fan was at the scene of the crime, was at the scene of the vice chief's death. So she thinks that he killed her husband, the vice chief Ma. Now Qiaofeng denies it, and he's like, "Well, my martial arts is out of this world." Okay, oh wait, sorry. Yeah, she found a fan at the scene of the crime, right? And Qiaofeng was like, "Hey, my martial arts is super great. Okay, I wouldn't drop a fan at the scene of a crime, right? Like that's not me. I'm stronger than that. I'm a really good fighter." So yeah, and he's like, "Well, everyone is against me now," so he steps down as the chief of the Beggars clan, and then he leaves. Right? He leaves, and he leaves, and then he drops the dog beating stick, which is the symbol of the leader of the Beggars clan. He drops that there, and then right afterwards, right after he leaves, some peeps from the country of Western Xia, they arrive. Right? They're hoping to find Qiaofeng to duel with him, but they see that he's gone, and then they take the chance to attack the Beggars clan. Because I think their overarching plan, this Western Xia country, their overarching plan was to crush all of the big martial arts sects in Song China, leaving it ripe for invasion. So they attack the Beggars clan. They release this gas that makes everyone fall unconscious. Duan Yu doesn't fall unconscious because remember he at the beginning of the story he swallowed that one poisonous frog and now he's like immune to all poisons. So he doesn't fall unconscious and he takes Wang Yuyan like a hero and then he runs away on a horse. All right, so he rescues her, runs away, and that was where we left off. And most of the beggars are racist. What? Oh yeah, they're racist because they're like, oh, you're a Khitan person, you must be a bad person. And Han Chinese, we must be good people. All right. They hella racist. Should I make it bigger? No, that's not good, right? That's way too big. I have to scroll too much. All right, chapter 17. Wishes of the Present. All right, so remember, Duan Yu is riding on a horse with Wang Yuyan. Both of them rode a horse together. After running very fast for a while, they scanned around and saw that there were mulberry trees everywhere. In a short time, they had already outdistanced the Western Xia warriors and no longer saw any sign of them. Duan Yu asked, "Miss Wang, how do you feel?" Wang Yuyan said, what's her voice again? I've been poisoned. There's not any strength left in my body." Hearing the words, "been poisoned," Duan Yu was startled. He hurriedly asked, "Is it serious? How can we find the antidote?" Wang Yuyan said, "I don't know. You urge the horse onto a safe place, then we'll talk about it again." Duan Yu said, "Where is safe?" "I don't know either." "What is it? I've already promised to keep her safe from dangers," Duan Yu thought. "Why do I ask her to give directions?" Without any feasible idea, he had no alternative but to ride the horse aimlessly. After running quickly for a meal's time, they did not hear the sounds of the chasing soldiers anymore, and gradually became relaxed. But the rain started to drip down. Duan Yu kept asking after every short period of time, "Miss Wang, how do you feel?" Wang Yuyan always replied, I'm fine. Being able to travel together with the beauty, Duan Yu was unspeakably happy, but he also feared that the poison in her body would become more dangerous. Therefore, he could not help but to smile for a while and then to be anxious for a while. The rain became heavier and heavier. Duan Yu took off his gown and covered Wang Yuyan with it, but that only worked for a short period of time. Before long, both of them were soaked through. Duan Yu asked again, Miss Wang, how do you feel? Wang Yuyan sighed and said, both cold and wet. Let's find a place to shelter from the rain. To Duan Yu, whatever Wang Yuyan said was like an imperial decree when she wanted to find a place to shelter from the rain. Even though Duan Yu knew clearly that they had not escaped from dangers, he still continuously said yes. But he also dazedly thought, the person Miss Wang constantly has in her mind is her Biao Ge, which is her cousin Mu Rongfu. Today I and she have encountered dangers together. I must do my utmost to protect her. Even if I die for her, someday in the rest of her life, she'd once in a while remember me a little bit. Wow. When she and Mu Rongfu get married later and have children, when she tells her descendants about the past, in leisure time perhaps she'd mention today's events. At that time, her head would be full of white hair when she mentions the 3 words, Mr. Duan. Her pearly tears would fall down drop by drop. What the hell is this guy thinking? He was lost in thought and could not prevent his eyes from reddening. How long until he finds out she's his sister? Ooh, that'll be a funny scene. Seeing that he had a distressed look on his face and had not started to look for a shelter, Wang Yuyan asked, what's wrong? There isn't any rain shelter? At that time, you tell your children... Wang Yuyan said, what? My children? Duan Yu was startled. Only now did he wake up to reality. He smiled and said, sorry, I was daydreaming. He looked around and saw a big mill in the northeast. The water of a rivulet was pushing the wooden wheel. The mill was in the process of pounding rice. He then said, we can shelter from the rain there, and rode the horse to the mill. At this time, it was raining heavily, with cascading noises. All around was a haze of water vapor. The original simp. He jumped off the horse. Seeing that Wang Yuyan looked pale, he could not help feeling sorry for her and asked again, do you have a stomach ache? Have a fever? Have a headache? Wang Yuyan shook her head, smiled, and said, I'm fine. Duan Yu said, alas, I wonder what the poison the Western Xia people used was. Let me go find the antidote. Wang Yuyan said, it's raining heavily like this. Help me get off the horse first and go inside. It won't be too late to talk about it later. Duan Yu hastily said, yes. You see, I could be very silly. Wang Yuyan smiled and thought, you're just inherently silly. Seeing her smiling expression, Duan Yu could not help but to feel as if he was on cloud 9 and almost forgot to go open the door of the mill. After opening the door, he came back to help Wang Yuyan to get off the horse. Because his eyes had focused on her lovely face the entire time, he did not notice that there was a ditch in front of the mill. His left foot stepped right in the middle of the ditch. Wang Yuyan called, be careful! But it was too late. Duan Yu cried out, ah! And fell plump into the mud. He climbed up after struggling for a while. His face, his hands, and his body were covered with mud. He continuously said, I'm sorry, are you okay? Wang Yuyan said, alas, are you okay? That fall didn't hurt, did it? Duan Yu was over the moon when he saw her showing concern for himself. He hastily replied, no, even if it did hurt, there'd still be no problem. He held out his hands to help Wang Yuyan get off her horse. All of a sudden, seeing that they were covered with mud, he drew them back and said, not good. I'll go clean up first and we'll come back to help you. Wang Yuyan sighed and said, you're really fussy. My whole body is already drenched. What's the matter if there's some more mud? Duan Yu smiled apologetically and said, I have only messed things up and haven't cared for you well. Still, he cleaned the mud off his hands in the rivulet before helping Wang Yuyan get off the horse and walk into the mill. When the two of them entered the mill, they saw the rice-pounding stone pestle being lifted and dropped, continuously hitting rice grains in the stone mortar, but they did not see anybody. Duan Yu shouted, "Is there anyone here?" Suddenly, in the straw stack in a corner of the room, two people shouted at the same time, "Ayo!" They stood up. One was male and one was female. Both were 18 or 19 years old, young peasants. Their clothes were untidy, their heads were full of straws, and their faces flushed red and looked totally embarrassed. Wonder what they were doing. It turned out they were a couple of lovers. The peasant girl had been there to pound rice. The man was also there to pound rice. The man had followed her here to be close to her. Because it had been raining heavily, they had thought that no one would arrive and had gotten really unbridled to such a degree that they had not heard anything, even though Duan Yu and Wang Yuyan had been talking to each other outside for quite a while. Duan Yu held his fist in his hand and said, Sorry for disturbing. We only come here to shelter from the rain. If the two of you have something to do, please do as you wish and don't pay any attention to us." Wang Yuyan thought, "This bookworm is talking nonsense again. They are meeting us here. How can they keep cuddling each other?" But she could not say those two sentences. After suddenly seeing the expression and attitude of that girl and the man, her face had soon reddened. She did not dare to look at them for long. Duan Yu wholeheartedly focused his mind on Wang Yuyan. Therefore, he did not care about this couple of young peasants. He helped Wang Yuyan sit down on a bench and said, "You're totally drenched. What's to be done?" There was a layer of rosy light on Wang Yuyan's face again. An idea sprung up in her mind. She pulled out from the hair on her temples a gold hairpin in which two big pearls were embedded, turned to the peasant girl and said, "Sister, I give you this hairpin. Can you please lend me a set of clothes to change?" Even though that peasant girl did not know that the two pearls were precious, but she did recognize gold. In her mind, she did not believe this was true and said, "Let me fetch some clothes for you to change. This gold hairpin I don't dare to take." As she finished saying that, she climbed up the wooden ladder beside her. Wang Yuyan said, "Sister, please, come here." That peasant girl had already climbed up 4 or 5 rungs. She quickly went down, walked to, and stood before Wang Yuyan. Wang Yuyan put the golden hairpin in her hand and said, "I really give you this hairpin. Can you please take me to go change clothes?" Seeing that Wang Yuyan was beautiful and amiable, the peasant girl had already been totally willing to help her. Now being given a golden hairpin, she felt very happy. She declined unsuccessfully for a few times before finally accepting it, then helping Wang Yuyan climb up to the garret above them to change clothes. The garret was stacked with paddy, straws, and farm tools, such as sieves and bamboo baskets. That peasant girl had some sets of worn-out clothes which she had been sewing and mending. After that young man had arrived, she had thrown them aside and stopped paying attention to them since. Now they were very suitable for Wang Yuyan to use. The young peasant man timidly peeped at Duan Yu. He was still abashed. Duan Yu smiled and asked, "Big brother, what's your name?" The young man said, I'm surnamed Jin." Well, he's a young man. I'm surnamed Jin." Duan Yu said, "So, your big brother Jin." That young man said, "No, I'm Jin Er. Jin Ada is my older brother." Duan Yu said, "So you're a second brother Jin." Just saying to hear, suddenly they heard horse hoofbeats. More than 10 horses was galloping towards the mill. Duan Yu was frightened. He rose to his feet and shouted, "Miss Wang, the enemies have chased us to here." Oh no. Wang Yuyan was being helped by that young peasant girl. She had taken off her wet clothes, wrung water out of them, and was drying herself. Also, hearing the horse hoofbeats, she was worried and frightened, and did not know how to deal with this situation. The horses ran very fast. In a short period of time, they had already arrived at the outside of the door. Someone shouted, "This horse is ours!" That boy and that girl are inside of here. Wang Yuyan and Duan Yu, one being up on the garret, one being downstairs, secretly complained at the same time and thought, had we led the horse into the mill, it'd have been so much better. They heard a crash. Someone had kicked the door open. 3 or 4 Western Xia warriors rushed into the mill. Wholeheartedly wanting to protect Wang Yuyan, Duan Yu rushed up the garret. Wang Yuyan had not dressed, therefore she had no alternative but to take a wet gown to put before her chest. After being poisoned, she felt very weak. Therefore, after her left hand had raised the gown to her chest, it dropped down. Duan Yu hastily turned around and said in a panicky manner, I'm sorry for offending you, miss. Pardon me, pardon me. Wang Yuyan hurriedly said, oh, what should we do? They heard a warrior ask Jin Er. They heard a warrior ask Jin Er, is that girl upstairs? Jin Er said, why do you ask about other people's daughters? A thump was heard. That warrior had thrown a punch, which had hit and sent him flying away for more than 1 zhang, then falling down. Oh, hey. That was uncalled for. Jin Er was very stubborn. He immediately shouted abuse at the warrior. The peasant girl said, Brother Er, don't exchange insults with other people. Caring about her lover, she climbed down to persuade him. Unexpectedly, that Western Xia warrior brandished his saber, then split Jin Er's head in half. Oh, well, that's uncalled for. The peasant girl was appalled. She fell and rolled down from the wooden ladder. Another warrior gripped her and said with a hideous grin, this chick gives herself up to me. There was a sound of tearing. He had already torn her clothes. That peasant girl stretched out her hand and gave him a fierce claw in the face, immediately creating 5 streaks of blood. The warrior raged. With all his strength, he threw a punch, which hit her chest. Her ribs were broken. She died immediately. Bells? Oh. Bells for the young couple who did nothing wrong. The bell tolls for innocents who have died. Hearing the agonized cries downstairs, Duan Yu stuck his head out to have a look. When he saw that the couple had suffered sudden, unfortunate deaths, he was very sorry and muttered to himself, it's totally my fault for dragging the 2 of you into this so that you suffered horrible deaths. Seeing that warrior quickly climbing up the wooden ladder, he hurriedly gave it a shove towards the outside. The wooden ladder was only loosely connected to the floor of the garret before it immediately fell outwards. The warrior quickly jumped down on the ground, held, and stopped the ladder, then connected it to the garret's floor again. While Duan Yu was attempting to shove it one more time, another warrior raised his right hand, and a sleeve-hidden arrow was shot at him. Duan Yu did not know how to dodge it. A "puh" sound was heard. The sleeve-hidden arrow had stuck into his left shoulder. While Duan Yu was pressing his shoulder with his hand, the first warrior took advantage of that opportunity to connect the ladder to the garret's floor and climb up. Each of his steps climbed up 3 rungs. Wang Yuyan was sitting on a pile of paddy behind Duan Yu, seeing how that warrior have killed the peasant girl with a palm strike and the lightness skill he had used to jump off and climb up the ladder. She said, you use your left forefinger to press the Xiaguan acupuncture point on his belly. Garret definition? I think a garret is like an upper floor, I think. So you have to have a ladder to climb up to it, right? So it's like let's call it an upper floor. Yeah, upper floor, or like a thing. Shoot. I think that's got to be what it is, right? What else can it be? A garret. I think it's like an upper floor, but it's not the entire floor, right? So maybe it's like a piece of wood, like a second floor, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that. Upper floor. Garret. Okay, a top floor or an attic room. Okay. I think that counts, right? Oh, like a loft. You think so? Oh, it does say loft here. Okay, so it's like a loft. Gotcha. When he had learned the Beiming divine skill, what? And the 6 meridians divine swords in Dali, he had already what is this? Oh, did they change the name of the technique? I don't know. Who cares? He had already remembered clearly every acupuncture point on the human body. While he was hearing Wang Yuyan shouting, that warrior had already set his left foot on the edge of the garret. Not having time to think anymore, he extended the forefinger and poked him in the Xiaguan acupuncture point on his belly. That warrior was running up. His belly was totally unprotected. He uttered a loud cry, then fell directly backwards on the ground from midair and died immediately. Duan Yu cried out, "'Tis strange, 'tis strange!" He saw another shaggy, bearded Western Xia warrior brandishing his long saber to protect his body and climbing up the ladder. Duan Yu asked, "Where to poke him? Where to poke him?" Wang Yuyan said in fright, "Ayo, this is bad." Duan Yu asked, "Why bad?" Wang Yuyan said, The movements of his saber are too fast. If you want to poke him in the Shanzhong acupuncture point on his chest, when your forefinger hasn't touched it, your arm would have already been chopped off." When she had just said to hear that shaggy bearded warrior had already reached the edge of the floor, Duan Yu wanted to protect Wang Yuyan with all his heart. Therefore, he did not think about the possibility that his arm might be chopped off. He stretched his right arm, utilized his internal energy, extended his finger, and poked the warrior in the Shanzhong acupuncture point on his chest. That warrior raised his saber to chop at Duan Yu's arm, but all of a sudden he screamed out, "Ah!" then fell down on his back. From a small hole on his chest, blood was spouting up to 2 qis high. Bei Ming skill is the skill that sucks people's inner energy. Gotcha. Thanks, Losh. Neither of them had expected the power of that finger attack to actually be this dangerous. Because Duan Yu had continuously killed 2 of them in a very short period of time, the rest of the warriors did not dare to climb up to the garret anymore. They gathered downstairs to discuss. Wang Yuyan said, "Mr. Duan, you should pull the sleeve-hidden arrow out of your shoulder." Duan Yu was very happy and thought, "So, she also cares about the arrow wound on my shoulder." He held out his hand and plucked the sleeve-hidden arrow from his shoulder. The arrow had gone 1 tun into his body and already touched the bone in his shoulder. Therefore, using sheer force to pull it out like this was extremely painful. But because he was happy, he did not care about that at all. He said, "Miss Wang, if they go up here to attack again, how do you think we should deal with them?" While saying this, he turned his head to look at Wang Yuyan. Suddenly, seeing that she was still loosely dressed, he hastily turned around and said, "Ayo, I'm sorry." Wang Yuyan felt so ashamed that her face became very red, but she did not have any strength to dress. An idea suddenly appeared in her mind. So because of the poison, right, she can't lift her arm. So she can't dress herself. She then got into the stack of straws, only stuck her head out, smiled, and said, "It's all right. You can turn around now." Duan Yu slowly turned sideways. His whole body was prepared. If he saw that she was still untidily dressed, exposing her skin, he would turn away immediately. When he had just turned half his head around, he caught a glimpse of a Western Xia warrior on the outside of the window. The warrior was standing on a horse's back, sticking his head in and looking around, wanting to jump into the garret. Duan Yu hastily said, "There are no enemies on this side." Wang Yuyan thought, "How are this man's martial arts?" She said, "You throw the sleeve-hidden arrow at him." Duan Yu followed her advice and threw the sleeve-hidden arrow in his hand out. He was totally an amateur in using missiles. Therefore, the sleeve-hidden arrow he threw did not have the least bit of accuracy and was at least 2 qis away from that man's head. The man at first did not pay any attention, but this throw of Duan Yu was extremely powerful. It was just a small sleeve-hidden arrow, yet a whizzing sound was heard when it flew out. The man was frightened. He hunkered down to dodge and curled up into a heap on the saddle. She has the strength to bury herself in straw, but can't put on a shirt. I think she was just hiding behind a pile of straw, right? Where is that? She then got into the stack of straws. I guess you can get into it without raising your hand. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Wang Yuyan stuck her head out and saw clearly. She said, "He's a wrestling expert of Western Xia. Just let him grip you, then hit the top of his skull with your palm. You'll win." Duan Yu said, "This is easy." He walked to the window and saw that warrior jump up from the saddle, broke the window's lattice, and plunged into the garret. Duan Yu said, "Why do you come here?" That warrior did not understand the Han language. He glowered at Duan Yu, then held out the left hand and gripped his chest immediately. The movements of this man were really fast. Right after gripping Duan Yu, he straightened his arm and lifted him in the air. Duan Yu sent a backwards palm strike. There was a plop. He had already hit the top of the man's head. That warrior had originally wanted to throw Duan Yu on the garret's floor, then wrestle him near death, but he had not expected to be hit by this palm strike. His skull was crushed into pieces. He died immediately. Damn, Duan Yu is like a hella powerful martial artist. Duan Yu had killed a man again. He could not help starting to panic. The more he thought, the more frightened he got. He shouted, "I don't want to kill anymore. I can't kill anymore. You guys, get away, quickly." He then used his strength to push the corpse of the wrestling expert downstairs. In total, there were 15 Western Xia warriors who had chased him to the mill. At this moment, there were 12 left. 4 of them were experts of first-class Hall, 2 being Han, the other 2 being Western Xia. Those 4 people saw that Duan Yu's martial arts seemed to be incomparably excellent for a while, then seemed to be laughably childish for another while, which was really suitable to be regarded as being fathomless. Therefore, for the moment, they did not dare to act rashly, and gathered to quietly discuss attacking plans. However, those 8 Western Xia warriors had a different plan. They put straws inside the mill together and wanted to set fire to everything. Triple kill? Yep, this is a triple kill. Wang Yuyan said in panic, "This is bad. They want to set fire to the mill." Duan Yu stamped his feet and said, "What should we do?" Seeing the big hydraulic wheel of the mill being pushed by the water of the rivulet, ceaselessly moving up and down, his mind was also up and down like the movements of the wheel. He heard a Han man call, General has ordered us to capture that young girl. We can't kill her. Don't torch this mill. He then raised his voice and shouted, Hey, little bastard and little puss, quickly go down here and surrender, or else we'll torch the mill, burning you alive and turning you into 2 roasted pigs. What? He just told them that he can't kill them, and now he's like, hey, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna burn you guys. He shouted out continuously 3 times. Duan Yu and Wang Yuyan ignored him. That man took out some tinder, started a fire, then ignited a handful of straws, raised it with his hand, and said, If you keep resisting, I'll start burning. As he finished saying this, he raised the kindling and assumed a posture which looked as if he wanted to throw it into the stack of straws. Seeing that the situation was desperate, Duan Yu said, Let me take him by surprise. He climbed on to the hydraulic wheel. This wheel was very big. Its diameter exceeded 2 zhangs. So 1 zhang is 3.3 meters. And it was even higher than the roof of the mill. Duan Yu held on to some planks of the wheel. Following the rotation of it, he slowly came down. That man was still shouting noisily and loudly, ordering Duan Yu and Wang Yuyan to surrender, not knowing that Duan Yu had quietly come down from the garret and extended his finger to poke him in his back. He was using the Shaoyang sword technique of the 6 meridians, divine swords. 1 poke should do the job. However, while sneakily attacking other people, he felt very scared. Therefore, the momenta of his attacks were inadequate, and his internal energy could not be shot out. Whether Duan Yu's internal energy could be shot out or not had merely been a matter of luck, and this time he could not shoot it out. That man felt that his back had suddenly been lightly touched by something. He turned his head around and saw Duan Yu poking at his own back with his finger. Ah, crap. The man had seen with his own eyes how Duan Yu had continuously killed 3 people. Now, seeing Duan Yu moving his right hand in a disorderly manner and perhaps using some kind of evil techniques, he was rather afraid as well. Therefore, he hastily jumped leftwards. Duan Yu threw another finger attack, but still nothing happened, which was hard to understand. That man shouted loudly, Stinking boy! What are you sneakily doing? He stretched out his left hand and made a grab at the top of Duan Yu's head. Duan Yu hurriedly shrunk back and made random grabs with his hands. Fortunately, he caught hold of the wheel and was immediately moved upwards by it. The man's grab missed Duan Yu. A pooh sound was heard. Wood chips were sent flying all around. His grab had broken and created a big gap on a plank of the hydraulic wheel. Wang Yuyan said, You only need to go around to his back, then attack the Ji-Yang acupuncture point at his 7th vertebrae. He'll be in danger. This man is a disciple of the tiger-clawed school in Jinan. The Ji-Yang acupuncture point isn't trained by his martial arts practice. Duan Yu was in midair. He shouted, That's very good, then climbed up the wooden wheel and jumped into the main room of the mill. The Western Xia warriors did not wait until his feet touched the ground. 3 of them immediately tried to grab him at the same time. Duan Yu continuously shook his right hand and said, I'm being outnumbered. Even a brave man can't beat multiple opponents at the same time. I only want to fight one-on-one. As he finished saying this, he leaned and advanced on one side, using the footwork of the wave treading exquisite steps. After dodging several times, he was already at the back of that man. He shouted loudly, Hit! And threw a finger attack. A ch-ch sound was heard. The Ji-Yang acupuncture point of the man was hit. He could not make even a single sound and died instantly. Duan Yu can't perform on purpose. I think he has performance anxiety. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. After killing that man, Duan Yu wanted to follow the hydraulic wheel again to go up and return to Wang Yuyan's side. But it was already too late because another Western Xia warrior had blocked his way out and was slashing at him with his saber. Duan Yu shouted, Hey yo, how terrible! The Tartar soldiers have severed my route of retreat. All around are ambushes. Soldiers are besieging Wuxia. My important business has gone bust. He strode left. Is that a poem? Why is he saying like that? He strode leftwards. That slash hit nothing. The other 11 in the mill immediately surrounded Duan Yu and attacked him at the same time with their sabers and swords. Duan Yu shouted loudly, "Miss Wang, see you in the next life. I've been besieged on all sides. It's hard to even protect myself. I have no choice but to wait for you on the way to the underworld." He's so dramatic. Even though he was shouting in a disorderly manner and looked extremely pathetic, the wave-treading exquisite steps footwork that he was using was incomparably masterful. Wang Yuyan was entranced looking at it. She said, "Mr. Duan, you are following the wave-treading exquisite steps, right? I have heard of it, but don't know its method." Duan Yu happily said, "Yes, yes. You want to see it? Then I'm going to perform it from beginning to end, one time for you. But I don't know if I can reach the end before you see my head getting chopped off." He then performed the footwork he had learned from the scroll, starting from the first step. Those 11 Western Xia warriors tried to punch and kick him and brandish their sabers and swords, but they could not touch even a corner of his clothes. All of them shouted, "Hey, you, block this side! You, guard the northeast corner! Don't hold back when attacking! Hey, yo, this is not good! The little turtle egg has slipped away from here!" Duan Yu kept going forwards one step, then going backwards one step, moving around the hydraulic wheel and the stone mortar. Even though Wang Yuyan was smart and learned, she was not able to understand the method. She said, "Dodging the enemies is more important to you. Don't perform for me to see." Duan Yu said, "I can't miss this good chance. If I don't perform now, after I die, you won't be able to see it." He did not care about his own life and only wished to perform the wave-treading exquisite steps from beginning to end for the person he loved to see. Who would have ever expected that a love-smitten person had their own good luck? If he waited for the enemy's attacks to come before using the footwork to dodge, firstly, because he did not know martial arts, and while the enemies were experts, and their stances were seemingly false and real at the same time, and very unpredictable, he would not have been able to dodge when he wanted to. Secondly, the enemies had 11 people in total. If he successfully dodged the first man, he would not be able to dodge the second. Even if he dodged the second man, he would not be able to dodge the third. But he only focused on his own footwork and paid absolutely no attention to the enemies. Therefore, 11 people of them all pursued and attacked him. Every step of his wave-treading exquisite steps went to places that were definitely not expected by other people. They saw his left foot striding eastwards, but to their surprise, in fact, his body had moved north to the northwest corner. The 11 people attacked faster and faster, but 90% of their stances had ended up attacking the people on their own side. The remaining 10% had totally missed. Seeing Duan Yu standing beside the hydraulic wheel, the first, the second, and the third immediately attacked the place where they thought he would move to with their fists, legs, sabers, and swords. The fourth, the fifth, and the sixth used their weapons to attack the place where he was standing. While Duan Yu was dodging, he suddenly changed direction. Bang, bang, bing, bing, ding, dong, clang, clang. The weapons of the first, the second, the third, the fourth had all hit the same place. You blocked and fought me, I blocked and fought you. Some Western Xia warriors had been a bit slow and had been injured by the people on their own side. After seeing just a few stances, Wang Yuyan had already knew the principle. She shouted, "Mr. Duan, your footsteps are very clever and complicated. For the moment, I can't understand them clearly. It'd be best if, after finishing this round, you perform another round." Duan Yu said, "Okay, I'll always follow your instructions." Once he finished stepping according to 8 times 8 equaling 64 hexagrams, he restarted from the first step of the technique. Wang Yuyan considered, "For the moment, Mr. Duan's life is not in doubt, but how to escape from this difficult situation. I haven't put on clothes on my upper body. This really makes me feel ashamed to death. The only choice is to think of a way to give Mr. Duan directions so that he'd kill all the 11 enemies." She immediately stopped watching Duan Yu's footwork and looked carefully at the stances of those 11 people. Suddenly, she heard a clack. Someone had put the wooden ladder against the edge of the garret. A Western Xia warrior wanted to climb up to the garret again. Because all 11 of them had been fighting Duan Yu unsuccessfully for a long time, the leader of the Western Xia people had told his subordinate to capture Wang Yuyan first and talk about it later. She's too smart for any of this nonsense. Alright, 5-minute break. I'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, so someone's climbing up to capture her. And Duan Yu is outside fighting those 11 warriors. Or dodging them, I guess. Wang Yuyan panicked. She shouted, "Ayo!" Duan Yu raised his head and saw that the Western Xia warrior climbing up to the garret on the ladder. Ugh. He hastily asked where to hit him. Wang Yuyan said, "You'd best grab his Zishi acupuncture point." Duan Yu strode forwards and grabbed the Zishi acupuncture point on the back of his waist. Not knowing what to do next, he conveniently made a throw. By lucky coincidence, he threw the warrior into the rice-pounding stone mortar. Whoa. Oh no. He's going to be killed by the pestle. The stone pestle, which weighed 200 jins, was driven by the hydraulic wheel. All the while it had been pounding on the stone mortar unceasingly. The grains in the stone mortar had been turned into very fine rice powder for a long time, but because there was no one to look after the mill, the stone pestle still kept pounding as usual. After that Western Xia warrior had fell into the stone mortar, the stone pestle went down. A pung was heard. It had burst his brain open. His blood splashed on the rice powder. Ouch. That Western Xia expert repeatedly urged his subordinates forwards. There were 3 other Western Xia warriors trying to be the first to climb up the ladder. Wang Yuyan shouted, "Do the same thing!" Duan Yu held out his hand to grab the Zishi acupuncture point of another man, then made a throw with all his strength, throwing that man into the stone mortar. This is getting really, really bloody. This time he intentionally threw, therefore the power he used was not as perfect as it had been the last time. When the stone pestle fell down, it hit the man's waist. He let out a miserable, blood-curdling scream, but for the moment it was impossible for him to die. Every time the stone pestle fell down, he let out a miserable scream. Pretty gory today, yes. Duan Yu was dumbfounded. Seeing that 2 other Western Xia warriors had already been climbing up the ladder, he shouted in panic, "Don't do that! Quickly, come down!" He poked chaotically with his left-hand fingers. Because he was frightened, his internal energy was in turmoil. Therefore, the power of the 6 meridians, divine swords, was able to be shot out. 2 chi-chi sounds were heard. 2 beams of internal energy hit the backs of those 2 men. They immediately fell down. The remaining 7 Western Xia warriors saw that Duan Yu could kill people from a distance by poking in the air. They had really never heard of this kind of technique before. They did not know that Duan Yu could not use this technique as he pleased. When he had really wanted to use it, he had not necessarily been able to. But when he had used it randomly at urgent moments, he had been often successful. The more those 7 people thought about this, the more frightened they became. All of them had already become rather timid, but they were not willing to run away at this point, too. What story is this? This is Demi-Gods and Semi-Devils. Wang Yuyan was looking down from a higher position, and therefore she had observed the fight in the big room clearly. She saw that even though there were 7 enemies left, Only 3 of them had rather good martial arts, and that Western Xia man who had shouted and given orders was perhaps the leader of this group. She shouted, "Mr. Duan, you go kill that man who is wearing yellow clothes and a leather hat first. You need to find a way to hit the Zhu, Chen, and Tianchu acupuncture points at the back of his head." Duan Yu said, "Yes, miss," and rushed towards that man. That Western Xia man was secretly frightened and thought, "The 2 acupuncture points, Zhujian and Tianzhu, are exactly my weak points. How does this girl know that?" Seeing Duan Yu charging at him, he immediately chopped horizontally with the saber to prevent him from approaching. Duan Yu charged at the man several times, but he was still unable to go to his back and was almost injured by the saber. That man had heard Wang Yuyan shouting that his own back had weak points. Therefore, he was earnestly defending the weak points on the back of his head. Otherwise, Duan Yu would have been in great danger. Duan Yu shouted, "Miss Wang, this man is very tough. I can't go to his back." Wang Yuyan said, "That man who is robed in gray, his weakness is the Lianchan acupuncture point on his neck. That yellow-bearded man, I don't recognize his martial arts stances. You should try hitting him in the chest with some finger attacks." Duan Yu said, "Yes." He extended his finger and pushed it quickly towards the man's chest. Even though these finger attacks of his were technically correct, they did not carry any power. But how could that yellow-bearded man know that? He immediately lowered his body and dodged 3 finger attacks. When Duan Yu attacked the 4th time, he jumped up in the air and then from midair delivered his attacks downwards. The power of his palm strikes was fierce and encompassed Duan Yu's body. Duan Yu felt that his breathing had become hurried and also felt dizzy. Very frightened, he closed his eyes and thrust the fingers of both hands chaotically. Chi, 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 chi sounds were heard continuously. The 6 meridian divine swords, Shaoshang, Shangyang, Zhongchong, Guanchong, Shaochong, and Shaozhi, were shot out at the same time and pierced 6 holes in the body of that yellow-bearded man. But the power of his palm strikes did not vanish. A pat was heard. A palm strike had hit Duan Yu's shoulder. At that moment, Duan Yu's internal energy surged through his body. Even though this palm strike had a lot of force, thanks to the protection of his vigorous internal energy, it did not injure him a little bit. Moreover, that yellow-bearded man was sent flying away for 1 chang. Wang Yuyan did not know that he was not injured. She said in panic, "Mr. Duan, are you okay? Are you injured?" Duan Yu opened his eyes and saw that the yellow-bearded man was flat on his back. Blood was spouting ceaselessly from the 6 small holes on his chest. His expression was ferocious. His eyes opened wide and were looking viciously at himself. He had still not died? Duan Yu was so scared that his heart started to pound in his chest. He shouted, I don't want to kill you. You yourself were asking for it." He was still using the wave-treading exquisite steps and scampering in the main room. During that time, he continuously cupped his fist, bowed to the remaining 6 people, and said, "Brave men, there was no enmity between me, Duan Yu, and you in former days. In the past few days, there was no enmity between us either. Please, open your net and allow me a way out. I really don't dare to kill anyone. Having killed this many people, how can I not feel terribly guilty? Really, I've been overly merciless. You run away quickly, okay? Let's consider that I, Duan Yu, have lost. Please, I beg your pardon." Jake Sherry, thanks so much. This is just a distraction? Okay. Thanks for distracting me. When he turned around, he suddenly saw a Western Xia warrior standing beside the door. No one knew when he had entered the mill. That man was medium in stature. His clothes were the same as those of the other Western Xia warriors, but he had a sallow complexion and a wooden face, looking just like a corpse. Duan Yu felt a chill of fear. Is this man a ghost? Could it be that because the souls of the Western Xia warriors killed by me couldn't vanish, their unfairly treated ghosts show up? Yes, that's why. He said in a tremulous voice, Who are you? What do you want to do? That Western Shia warrior stood with his back straightened. Neither did he reply, nor did he make a move. So is this the boss? The boss comes. Let's see what happens. Duan Yu leaned to one side, made a grab backwards, and caught hold of the Zishi acupuncture point on the back of the waist of a Western Shia warrior beside himself, then threw that warrior at the mysterious person. That person slightly moved sideways. A pung sound was heard. The head of the Western Shia warrior had hit the wall. His skull was shattered into pieces and he died. Duan Yu let out a deep breath and said, "You're a man, not a ghost." At this moment, besides the incoming mysterious person, there were only 5 Western Shia warriors left. Among them, 1 Western Shia man and 1 Han man were experts of first-class Hall. The other 3 had mediocre martial arts. Seeing that the number of people on their own side had gotten smaller and smaller as the fight went on, they all wanted to retreat. One of them went to the door and pushed it. That Western Shia expert shouted, "What are you doing?" "Shwa, shwa, shwa!" Using his saber, he chopped 3 times towards Duan Yu. Seeing a blue light flashing and the sharp saber of the opponent being brandished to and fro repeatedly before him, which could cut his own body at any time, Duan Yu was extremely frightened. He shouted, You're insolent like this. I can't hit your Yuzhen and Tianzhu acupuncture point. You won't be able to resist. You'd be well advised to withdraw. We'd better disperse." The saber stances of that man became more and more urgent, and every stance was close to the vital parts of Duan Yu. Had he not accelerated his steps, any of those stances would have taken his life. That Han expert had always stayed behind, seeing that Duan Yu was making every effort to implore and besides trying his best to dodge. He could not strike back at all. An idea sprung up in his mind. He went to the stone mortar, grabbed 2 handfuls of rice flour, which had been pounded to a very fine state, then threw them at Duan Yu in the face. That's a dirty move. Duan Yu's footwork was clever, therefore those handfuls of rice flour did not hit him. That Han man kept throwing out handfuls after handfuls. In the main room, rice flour and rice bran fluttered in all directions, in an instant looking like smoke and mist. Duan Yu shouted, How terrible! How terrible! I can't see anything!" Wang Yuyan also knew the situation was extremely dangerous. She thought it was all because of that very clever, wave-treading, exquisite steps that Duan Yu had been safe from those experts. All along, when attacking him, the enemies had seen him before themselves, but suddenly, somehow, he would have already been at their backs. Therefore, their weapons, punches, and kicks had always missed his body by a hair's breadth. At the moment, rice flour and rice bran had spread all over the main room like smoke, and everyone was executing his stances randomly. Fighting blindly and chaotically like this made it very possible to hit him. If the Western Shia warriors just ignored Duan Yu, rushed forwards, and executed any set of martial arts on their own, Duan Yu would soon be cut into 17 or 18 pieces. Sorry. You don't, insolent definition. Where is that? Insolent. It means stubborn, right? You shouted, "You're insolent," I think. Stubborn? I think. Is that what it means? Is it stubborn or is it arrogant? Oh. I think it means arrogant. Insolent. What is going on with this Why is the color like that? Showing a rude and arrogant lack of respect. I think that counts, right? I think it counts. I think I'm right. You're lost? What are you lost at? Yeah, if you just caught this chapter, you would be lost. Because this is, what episode is this? 30 something? Yeah. So in order for the story to make sense, you would have to read it from chapter 1. Because rice flour had got into his eyes, Duan Yu could not open them. He jumped up with all his strength and landed beside the hydraulic wheel. He grabbed hold of a plank of the wheel and was lifted up. There were two miserable cries. Two Western Shia warriors had accidentally been chopped at by that Western Shia expert with his saber and died. After that, two clanks were heard. Someone shouted, "It's me!" Another shouted, "Be careful, it's me!" The Western Shia expert and the Han expert had just clashed their sabers and sword and exchanged two stances. Then there was another miserable cry. Another Western Shia warrior had been given a kick in his vital part by someone and was sent flying outwards. Hearing that dying cry, Duan Yu could not help but to feel a chill down his spine. His whole body trembled. He shouted in a quavering voice, Hey, the number of you has gotten fewer and fewer. There's no need to fight anymore. Don't kill excessively. I beg you, okay?" Hearing the voice, the Han man was able to detect Duan Yu's direction. I think the boss, the guy that came, is killing these people. So maybe he's not the boss. He made a wave with the right hand, and a steel dart was thrown at him. This steel dart went with great accuracy and power, but because the hydraulic wheel was revolving unceasingly, when it arrived, Duan Yu had already been moved down by the wheel. It was a pai sound. The steel dart had nailed a corner of his sleeve to a plank of the wheel. Frightened, Duan Yu thought, "I don't know how to dodge missiles. If the enemies focus on throwing steel darts and sleeve-hidden arrows, I'll suffer a disaster." He was so frightened that his hands flagged. His fingers could no longer hold on to the plank. A tang sound was heard. He had already fallen down. In the dense mist, the Han expert vaguely saw that. He rushed forwards to grab Duan Yu. Duan Yu remembered Wang Yuyan had said that he needed to poke him in the Lianchan acupuncture point. But firstly, because he was in a state of panic. And secondly, even though he knew the acupuncture points, he had never practiced martial arts in normal times. Therefore, when he extended his finger to hit the Lianchan acupuncture point of that man in a disordered manner, the direction of his attack was inaccurate. Both slanted leftwards and inclined downwards, unexpectedly hitting the Chi Hu acupoint of that man. The Chi Hu point was a laughing point. Was a laughing acupoint. The internal energy of that man immediately ran in the opposite direction. He could not help laughing, loudly. So you can poke someone at a certain part of their body, and you can make them laugh uncontrollably. That's the power of acupuncture points. Executing a thrust after a thrust, he attacked Duan Yu non-stop with his sword, but all the while he kept laughing loudly, hee, ha, he, The Western Shia expert asked, "Brother Wrong, why are you laughing?" The Han man was unable to answer and kept laughing loudly. The Western Shia man did not understand the cause of that. He said angrily, "We're facing a tough enemy. What the hell are you doing?" The man said, ha, He raised his sword and thrust it at the back of Duan Yu. Duan Yu walked to the left at an angle. The Western Shia expert did not see clearly in the dense mist, and he happened to also move to this side. Therefore, all of a sudden, both of them had a heavy collision. As soon as this Western Xia man bumped into Duan Yu's body, he quickly turned his left hand over and using a grasping hand technique, he grabbed Duan Yu's right arm. He noticed that his opponent's strong point was the footwork, therefore he thought this grasp was exactly a good chance to obtain the advantage. He threw the saber away with his right hand, then withdrew the hand and grabbed Duan Yu's left wrist. Oh, he doesn't know that he can suck your energy. Duan Yu shouted, how terrible, and used all his strength to struggle. But the hands of that Western Xia man were like iron hoops. How could he struggle out of it? Thinking that this was a good opportunity, the Han man raised his sword and thrust it at the back of Duan Yu. The Western Xia man thought, it's not good. This thrust of his only needs to pass into the body of the enemy several tsuns to kill him, but if he disregards comradeship and want to take all the credit for himself, maybe he'll go for a chi, conveniently killing me as well. He immediately took a step backwards, pulling Duan Yu along. Still laughing non-stop, the Han man took a step forwards and wanting to raise his sword and thrust again. Suddenly there was a pung sound. A plank of the hydraulic wheel had hit the back of his head, making him pass out. Even though that Han man had lost consciousness, he was still breathing and kept laughing ha 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 non-stop. But because he only had the air and not the strength, his laughs sounded very strange. The hydraulic wheel slowly revolved. Another pung sound was heard. The second plank had hit his chest. His laughs became a bit lower. After getting hit 7 or 8 times, the ha 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 sounds he made sounded just like snores of someone who was dreaming. Snores of someone who was dreaming? Seeing that Duan Yu was being gripped and unable to pull away, Wang Yuyan felt extremely anxious. She also thought that there was still a Western Xia warrior with a scary expression standing beside the door. If he conveniently gave Duan Yu a saber or a sword stroke, Duan Yu would be instantly killed. She shouted in panic, don't kill Mr. Duan. We should discuss this slowly. That Western Xia man, that Western Xia man was still gripping Duan Yu. So the boss was still standing beside the door. So the boss is just standing there, I guess, with his arms folded. He placed his right arm horizontally and pressed it against the chest of Duan Yu with full power, wanting to crush his ribs or make him unable to breathe and die. Duan Yu was frightened. His left wrist and right arm were being gripped. Therefore, the Bei Ming divine skill, this is the chi absorption skill, which absorbed internal energy, could not be used. He had no choice but to extend his left fingers and push chaotically with them. But all of his finger attacks only hit the air. He felt the pressure on his chest getting heavier and heavier, and gradually he could no longer breathe. At that critical moment, suddenly there were several chi sounds. That Western Xia expert uttered a soft ah cry and said, good skill, you've finally poked me in the Yu-Zhen. His hands gradually loosened and his head drooped. He leaned against the wall and died. First you have to pass the minions? True. Very surprised, Duan Yu turned that man over to have a look. He really saw a small hole at the Yu-Zhen acupoint on the back of his head. Blood was oozing from it. This wound had been inflicted on him by his 6 meridians divine swords. Duan Yu did not understand for the moment what had happened. He did not know that in urgent situations his internal energy had condensed, and the energy of one of his finger attacks had hit the wall, sprung back, and hit the back of the head of that Western Xia expert. Whoa, you can ricochet this thing? He can ricochet his energy attacks. His finger attacks. A whole new field of opportunity opens up. Duan Yu had executed several tens of finger attacks altogether, one after another. They had bounced off the wall and hit every place on the back of the enemy. Because that Western Xia man had had a strong internal energy, and the power of the rebounded energy had been weak, they had not been able to damage him at all. But by lucky coincidence, the last beam of internal energy had bounced off the wall and hit his Yu-Chen acupoint. The Yu-Chen point had been his weakness and most fragile point. Therefore, even though the rebounded internal energy had been weak, he had nevertheless died instantly when it had hit him at that acupoint. Gotcha. Duan Yu was both surprised and happy. He released the corpse of that Western Xia man and shouted, Miss Wang! Miss Wang! All the enemies have been killed! Well, there's one more. Suddenly, he heard an icy voice from behind himself. All haven't necessarily died. Duan Yu was frightened. He turned around and saw that it was a Western Xia warrior with a wooden expression. Ooh, now the boss. He thought, I overlooked you, but your martial arts aren't good. I can kill you with just a grip on your Zishi acupoint. He then laughed and said, Old chap, you run away quickly, okay? I definitely won't kill you. The man said, Do you have the ability to kill me? His tone was extremely arrogant. Duan Yu was really unwilling to kill again. Therefore, he cupped his fist and said, I'm really not a match for you. Please, show your mercy and forgive me. That Western Xia warrior said, These sentences of yours are merely a jest. They have absolutely no sincere intention of begging for mercy. The solitary young finger and the 6 meridians divine swords of the Duan clan are well known all over the world. In addition to that, this girl has told you important secrets. They're really no small matter. Let me experience your masterful stances. Every word of these few sentences was said monotonously, with no high or low sound, no rise or fall of the voice, and no pause. Therefore, they sounded very unusual. Perhaps he was a foreigner, because even though he knew the Han language, his use of words and grammar were correct, his tone was obviously very awkward. Duan Yu innately disliked martial arts. Today, he had killed so many people like this only because the situation had forced him to do so, and he had had no alternative. Speaking of fighting, if it was possible to avoid fighting, he would try his best too. He immediately gave a deep bow and sincerely said, You are very correct to be critical of me. I must confess my intention of begging for mercy was not respectful and sincere. I have never learned martial arts. Just now, it was my sheer luck that I killed people. In being able to preserve my life, I'm already perfectly content. How dare I flaunt my skills and vie for superiority? That Western Xia warrior laughed grimly and said, You haven't learned martial arts yet. With a raise of your hand, you annihilated 4 experts of first-class Hall and killed 11 warriors. If you learn martial arts, would there still be survivors? Would there still be survivors in Wulin? I should do a video about me, why I made the YouTube channel. Maybe. Maybe someday. Someday. I think I've already told people, like, in one of these streams. But someday. Bloop, 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 bloop. I think we should stop here. Yeah? Yeah, that's halfway through the chapter already. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, did you guys like that chapter? How was it? A lot of fighting, a lot of gore. Very gory. You had the mortar, the mortar and pestle, the gigantic mortar and pestle just grinding people into red dust. Let me get a drink, okay? Be right back. You're glad it wasn't just talking this time? Mm. Ooh. All right. Ooh. All right. So cheers. Oh, should we do the Asia quiz again before we leave? I think I can do it. I think we can do it this time. I think we can, guys. Asia geography. I believe. All right, guys. 100%, okay? 100%. South Korea, China, Bhutan, here. Tajikistan, okay. The first hurdle. Is this Tajikistan or is this Tajikistan? This or this? I believe this starts with a K, right? This is Kazakhstan and this is Kyrgyzstan. So this must be Tajik. Whew! All right. We're still good. Philippines, Maldives, Malaysia. Oh! Misclicked. All right, we're restarting. Rewind. All right, let's do it again. Fuck. Turkey. Iran. Sri Lanka. Nepal is this one, right? India. Thailand. Turkmenistan. Remember, across from Turkey. This is Turkmenistan. All right, we're good. Lebanon. It's right here. Taiwan. Cambodia. China. Maldives. Okay, Tajikistan. That's right. Brunei. Oh, fuck. This is Bhutan. This is Brunei, right? Okay. Pakistan. It's here. East Timor. Am I getting worse, guys? Am I getting worse? Israel. Georgia next to Russia here. Syria. This is Jordan. This is Syria. Philippines. Laos. Uzbekistan. Okay. Uzbekistan. This is K. This is Afghanistan. This must be Uzbekistan, right? Right? Or is it this one? No, this is Azerbaijan. This is Astan. Okay. Woo! I think we got it. Vietnam. Kazakhstan is this one. You know that. Saudi. Armenia. This little one. Bahrain. It's this one. Kyrgyzstan. Bhutan. UAE. Singapore. Bangladesh. Malaysia. Almost did it again. Mongolia. North Korea. South. Kuwait. Next to Iraq. Myanmar. Okay, we got this. Indonesia. Oman. Qatar. Russia. Oh, we got this. Azerbaijan. Jordan. Afghanistan. Fuck yeah. Got this. All right. We learned Asia. Now we know all of Asia. Awesome. For next time, I think what's next? Europe? I think Europe is the next best, right? Yeah. A lot of the Eastern European countries I have problem with. So let's do Europe next time. Thanks, guys. All right. Cheers. I think we're good. I think we're done. Thanks. You wouldn't have guessed half of those smaller ones, right? Yeah, no. I've done this a lot. Okay, so that's why. I've done this quite a few times. I finally just learned it. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I love you. And we'll see you next time. All right. Bye.